What is your favorite polite way to tell someone you don't care about what they are saying? I overheard an exchange between two old duffers in the gym locker room last week that was interesting and sort of fits the bill here. The one fellow was doing a deep dive into his medical history and sharing it all with the other fellow in excruciating detail. Even I was getting bored and I wasn't part of the conversation. At about the 5-minute mark, the man doing all the listening just straightforwardly goes, "Hey, buddy, you got more story than I got time. My wife's gonna drive off without me." With that, he did a 180 and walked off. I wouldn't exactly say it was polite, but being weary of listening to the long talker myself, I found myself thinking, good for you, man. Good for you. This is my new favorite line. You got more story than I got time. It depends. In a social setting, I am usually nicer. People want to be heard and not everyone is a good storyteller. I will listen for a bit and then redirect the conversation or excuse myself. In business, I'm pretty ruthless. My time really is money, so I will give a direct reason as to why I can't focus on the subject. Totally situational. My mother-in-law will tell you about her neighbor's aunt's composting schedule if you don't walk away at some point. But a nice stranger deserves a chance not to bore me to death. Allow me to introduce to you all the perfected art of the southern phone call ender. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let you go. My husband uses this all the time when talking to his brother on the phone. Works like a charm. Having a severe hearing loss and 2 hearing aids, I just play with the back of my ears. Don't really adjust my hearing aids, but it looks like I am. And then interrupt to ask them to repeat what they just said. Then I interrupt them again to say I have a problem with word recognition of people with certain vocal frequencies. After interrupting multiple times and asking them to repeat it using different words, they usually just stop talking. Ah yes, a classic. When I want to pretend I didn't see something, I try to do the same with my glasses. I can't see in certain lightings. Gosh darn, I think I need a new prescription. I can only see certain shades. This usually gets people pointing at random things to test my sight, but it works. Hey, I know we could talk about this all day, but I need to insert realistic alternative. Food in my tum-tum. Finish this laundry before it's too late, etc. This is the only polite way I've ever found to end a conversation like this. There's not really a polite way to say I'm not interested in what you're talking about, so I find it best to just exit the conversation and give them a reason why you need to step away from them. People in this thread keep saying just turn around and walk away, but that's rude. Nothing against you, but this is more brain power than I can commit to this topic for now. Either that or something to the effect of, sorry, my mind's somewhere else right now. Why don't we revisit this another time? Most of my friends know I suck at paying attention, and I find that if you're polite but direct and don't frame it as a judgment on them, they understand. Same. Brain power, bandwidth, lack of focus, stress about something else, I use any way to frame it. Whoa, that's so interesting. It reminds me of insert change of subject here. Or if I'm feeling salty, that certainly is a point of view. Ha 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 ha. I'm writing down the second one. Definitely going to use this. Like, a lot. Thank you. I generally just let them keep talking. I've found that a lot of those people who ramble to anyone who will listen are just lonely, or need more attention than the average person. I don't want to hurt their feelings by letting on that I'm not interested, and unless I have something else to do, it's not hurting me to humor them and listen for a while. If it goes on too long, I'll say something like, well hey, it's been nice talking to you, but I have to get back to work, head to the bathroom, find something to eat etc. And we wrap up the conversation. But this is such a nice way to look at it. Small kindnesses. I've stopped people and said I appreciate your enthusiasm for this, but I really don't have enough context or background to fully understand what you're saying. This sounds like you're inviting them to provide context and or background. Go silent for 12 seconds. Anyways, I think we should get back to what I called you about. That 12 seconds of silence is essential. That requires the person to pause. I don't know enough people like that. To clarify, when you say you don't care about what they are saying, Is it because what they're saying is just trivial and boring to you, or rather because they're saying something that you disagree with or believe to be false? If somebody cornered me at a party and started talking to me about the fashion industry, and they didn't get the hint after me saying things like I just wear what's comfortable, I'd probably make up an excuse and leave. I don't want that person to get the idea that they can never talk about one of their passions, but I also won't waste my time. On the other hand, I've had distant relatives try to convince me that vaccinations are terrible, and I don't want them to think that I agree with them if I dip out of the conversation, but also don't want to spend an hour debating it. Of course, if you say you don't want to debate, a lot of people will assume it's because you would lose. In these instances, I normally say something like I like to make sure I'm prepared with accurate sources because I never want to give out incorrect or misleading info. I wasn't planning on discussing X today, and I disagree with your position, so I'm not going to spend my time arguing with you about it, as there are a lot of things I'd rather be doing. I just go no and walk away if they're spouting a stupid opinion. Sometimes I'll debate and they will end up looping back around to their previous points that make no sense, at which point I go no and walk away. I remember you saying before, yeah, absolutely. Hey, sorry to cut you short, but I'm busting for the loo. Catch up with you in a bit. People who I don't know don't enjoy. 1. Oh, I've got to stop you because I insert new topic, exit, etc. 2. I don't know enough about this to have an opinion, but I can tell you really care, I can understand that, but and then first bit. People who are sweet but no social cue firing. 3. Ask them if you can get the rest later. 4. Ask them if they can walk and talk because you've got Ziz on the agenda and have to split. I'm Canadian. The polite exit is a great lesson. I never want anyone to know or think I don't care about what they are saying. I am adult enough to engage in a conversation regarding nearly anything to make someone feel heard. Kindness goes a long way. Interesting people are always interested. I find that people always do the opposite of what you want, so if I really want the conversation to end, I will act like I'm super interested in it. Oh crap, dude. I really want to hear more, but frick, I gotta go. Can we continue this later? They basically love me for sounding super into what they were saying, like I don't want to end the conversation, and I basically promise to hear them finish later. You know what happens when I see them again? They forget what they were talking about every time. Sometimes I even specifically ask them about it and they kind of drop it. Plus, as a bonus, they can't figure out why they feel closer to me as a friend for some reason. There's a guy who just recently retired from work who would talk to you for hours if he could. It was never about anything important, or if it was followed by about an hour of him repeating the same thing over and over. He would even follow you around if you tried walking away. So eventually, it became a game. If he was talking to me, I would try to lead us to another coworker, and once they started to talk, I would quickly get up and leave. It was now up to the next person to do the same. I'm so sorry I stopped listening, I have my mind in other things right now and it's so hard to concentrate in what you are saying. My sister often rambles on and on about animes I haven't watched yet, so once she's been going for longer than 5 minutes, I'll tell her either wrap it up, or I'm really not that interested right now, and she's usually fine with it. I do this with my mom. Mom, I don't know these people, so I don't think what they do is relevant to me. She is fine with it. My brother tells her, Mom, it's too early to talk this much. It could be 3 PM. Why would you want a polite way to say something is inherently impolite? Don't sugarcoat it. Don't dance around it. Don't waste your own time or anyone else's. Just give it to them straight. I personally value honesty and directness over politeness. I'd much rather someone be honest with me than waste their time and brain power coming up with a nice way to yell me to frick off. Stare silently at them for just long enough to be uncomfortable, then say, "You've just reminded me, I need to buy some vegetables," then leave. I point to the headphones I am wearing and open my eyes really wide, lol. I wear headphones in public because I don't want to talk to random people sometimes. Why do people think it's okay to breach that? Tried it. Doesn't work for women. They type stuff onto your phone and shove it in your face. Thank God for social distance rules on public transit. When all this is over, I'm still going to wear a mask and see if that fends them off. Poop your pants. They'll end the conversation for you. If they're polite too, they may pretend to not notice, in which case you just tell them I think I pooped my pants and walk away. They won't stop you. Also, you could probably just say you pooped your pants without actually doing it and walk away. I like to commit full send on the poop. I had a personal experience with this not so long ago. For context, my dog tends to go out with me to get my car running in the morning to warm it up. He prances around and pisses somewhere and meets me back at the door. Well, one day he decided he wanted to explore after he peed, which is fine because he comes when I call. Well, later that day I get home and I'm walking up my driveway and see my neighbor waving me over. I stand still and she starts to complain to me about how my dog walked on her grass. I was like, oh, he really walked on your grass, doing my best to sound completely genuine. I didn't even pay attention to her answer because I was already opening my door and just went on with my day. If he took a crap I would understand. Can't have people's dogs using your lawn like a cat box. But he didn't. He just walked through it and came running back when I called him. I didn't know why she had such a problem with it, but it didn't harm anything, so I didn't care what she had to say about it. TLDR. Point is, ask a rhetorical question in a genuine tone, then walk away before they answer. Dang, that's crazy. Yeah, dog, I really don't know enough about any of this to contribute in a meaningful way. I'm gonna go get myself a snack. I tell my co-workers if I'm rubber duckying rather than actually following along and paying attention. Sometimes that's fine. Sometimes they actually want input. My husband is a documented soapboxer and we have a 6-month-old son. I often have little time or energy to suffer his filibustering. As a Midwesterner, you can see my predicament. I've been practicing saying, I'm sorry, I don't have the mental space to carry this right now, but sometimes it amounts to a simple, hold that thought, while I walk away to do something for the baby. The danger of this is that my husband often follows me while carrying on. I would promise to come back and let you know if I find something that works, but I don't have the mental space to revisit this either, sorry. Depends on context. If someone is just really chatty and I want to end a phone call, I like to pretend I'm the chatty one. Oh my gosh, sorry, I got distracted. I'm probably taking up your whole day. I'll let you go, but yep, I'll do that thing Wednesday, thanks, bye. If someone is just boring as frick, I like to take it as a challenge. Try to find the thing that makes them interesting. Old people are a particularly good example. If you just go to an aged care home and talk about the weather, it's boring as crap, but find the right subject and suddenly 80-year-old Gladys is telling you how she nearly ran away with a Viet Cong soldier who gave her hepatitis. Remain quiet until they are finished speaking. Nod or confirm that you understand and then leave. Understanding is not agreeing. Most people don't realize that you don't care and you don't hurt their feelings. The kind of people who just love to hear themselves talk will absolutely not notice that you aren't participating in the conversation and will just keep going on and on. I am sorry, but I was daydreaming and didn't hear a word you say and I am trying to concentrate, so can you please keep quiet? Who's really the impolite one? The person trying to get out of a conversation they didn't want in the first place? Or the person holding some innocent stranger verbally hostage to stroke their own egos? I have no issue telling people to leave me alone. This mostly only works at a party, but you can kinda just say you're gonna go do something else and then walk away. Just wait for a break. Then, hey, I'm gonna go get some chips, and you're off. Get some chips. Or don't if they can't see the chips. And then don't go back. It doesn't even have to be anything good, just any other activity. If digital, usually I have to go. In person is trickier but also ends up being a variation of that's nice but I have to go. Usually not caring what someone is saying and not wanting to see them go hand in hand. Oh, that's very interesting. Family saying that runs the gamut to serve a lot of purposes. Also, that's a different way of looking at it. You don't say, and a few more of the usual suspects. I have vibes, so when somebody is telling me a boring story, I say gotta use the bathroom, then go and browse Reddit for like 30 minutes in the bathroom. I come out and there are no questions asked except for, dang bro, what did you eat, because they took so long they forgot about the story. I was talking to my brother and he says whatever you're saying goes in one ear and out the other. I'm like, wow man, okay, now I don't bother to talk anymore. So he's like, WTF is his prompt to everyone, lol haha. If I'm feeling blunt, that's interesting, but I'm afraid you're starting to lose me here. If I'm feeling nice, so in summary you're saying, that's cool dude. Anyway, or I guess that means I should be mindful of her. Anyway, and then either change the subject or say I gotta go for now, but it was nice catching up chatting. Take care, see you next time. Essentially, if you can find a way to restate what they said or make a meaningful but short comment on it that shows you understood what they're saying, then they'll feel heard and listened to. Then they won't take it offensively when you follow up with your statement that you have to go or when you change the subject. My neighbor across the street was a notorious hypochondriac. The standard "how are you doing" was always met with, "Lord, not so good," followed by a lengthy list of her ongoing ailments. At one point, I found myself on the receiving end of one of her health-related monologues. It was, to the word, as follows: me, checking the mail, "Hey, how are you?" Then biting my tongue, "Ms. Jones, Lord, not so good. John had to rush me to the hospital the other night. He had his flashes going all the way down the highway. When I got to the emergency room, they stuck a tube up my rectum." Have you ever had a tube up your rectum? Me. Number. What? Sorry, I think mom's calling me, as I practically run to the back door. I know this could post in a different sub, but my dad's favorite response to such a situation is, "Oh, I heard you. I just chose not to respond." Anyone have any advice for SOS? My boyfriend is in medical school and constantly talks my ears off with things that make my brain go ow. I don't want to be rude, but if I feel overwhelmed with sensory information I explode and literally start crying. And I would like a polite way to say your words, and my inability to grasp them will literally make me cry if you don't stop. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.